Every man believes he's strong until he's tested. Not in the gym, not in theory, not when everything goes his way, but when someone challenges him publicly, interrupts him mid-sentence, questions his decision, smiles while pushing his boundaries. That's where strength is exposed. And most men fail there, not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack physical presence. They fail because they react. A test is rarely obvious. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up as a sarcastic comment, a subtle disagreement, a dismissive tone, someone slightly stepping over your boundary to see what happens, and what happens next defines you. When pressure appears, weak men speed up. They talk faster, defend harder, explain longer, raise their tone slightly, even if they think they didn't. Strong men slow down. That's the first difference. They don't rush to defend themselves. They don't compete emotionally. They don't fight for control of the moment. They take control of themselves. Because the real test isn't about dominance. It's about stability. When someone challenges you, the room doesn't focus on the challenger. It watches your reaction. Do you tighten up? Do you shift your posture? Do you feel the need to clarify instantly, or do you pause? That pause is power. Most men misunderstand strength. They think it means pushing back harder, speaking louder, winning the exchange. But strength under pressure is not escalation. It's containment. Containment of emotion, containment of ego, containment of impulse. When tested, strong men don't try to win the moment. They try to stay centered. If someone interrupts them, they don't rush to interrupt back. They let silence stretch. And silence makes the interrupter uncomfortable. If someone challenges their authority, they don't immediately justify their position. They look. They respond slowly, sometimes with fewer words than expected. And that unpredictability creates weight. Weak men fear silence. Strong men use it. Weak men fear looking passive. Strong men understand that restraint is not passivity. It's control. Here's what most men don't realize. Tests are rarely about content. They're about emotional leverage. The person testing you wants one thing: movement. They want you to react. The moment you react impulsively, you've already lost the frame. Strong men don't give away emotional leverage easily. They don't take bait. They don't explain themselves out of discomfort. They don't adjust their tone to match aggression. They stay measured. And that measured energy shifts the room, because humans instinctively calibrate to stability. When you remain steady under pressure, others unconsciously reset around you. That's strength, not force, not aggression, not dominance, control. In the next part, we'll break down exactly what strong men do in the first 5 seconds after being tested, and why most men destroy their authority before they even realize what happened. When a man is tested, the first 5 seconds decide the outcome. Not the argument, not the words, not the logic, the reaction. Most men lose the frame immediately. They tense up. Their breathing shifts. Their tone changes slightly. Their eyes narrow. They speak faster than before. These micro-signals are louder than anything they say. Tests are rarely about what's said. They're about emotional leverage. The person testing you is watching one thing. Did I move him? If your energy spikes, if your voice tightens, if you defend instantly, they got their answer. You moved. Strong men understand something crucial. The test is not about winning. It's about staying unmoved. When challenged, they don't react first. They observe. They let the words land without chasing them. They don't interrupt the interruption. They don't rush to fix the tension. They allow silence, and silence shifts pressure. Because most people who test others are uncomfortable with quiet resistance. They expect pushback. They expect emotion. They expect escalation. When they get none, the pressure returns to them. That's control. In those first 5 seconds, strong men do 3 things. They breathe slower. They relax their posture instead of tightening. They lower their tone instead of raising it. Lower tone creates gravity. Fast speech creates anxiety. When tested publicly, weak men try to prove strength. Strong men don't need to prove it. They demonstrate it through stillness. If someone challenges a decision, a weak reaction sounds like this. Let me explain why that's not correct. A strong reaction sounds like this. We're moving forward. Short, final. No emotional leakage. If someone makes a sarcastic comment, weak men laugh nervously or counterattack. Strong men hold eye contact. Sometimes they respond. Sometimes they don't. Not every test deserves oxygen. The more you treat every challenge as a battle, the more you look reactive. The more selective you are with your responses, the more deliberate you appear. Deliberate equals controlled. Controlled equals strong. Most men think dominance wins tests. It doesn't. Composure does. When someone tries to destabilize you and you remain steady, they feel the imbalance. And people instinctively respect stability. In the next part, we'll break down how strong men handle repeated testing. Because the real pressure doesn't happen once. It happens again, and again, and again. That's where real strength shows. One test is easy. Anyone can stay calm once. Real strength shows when the pressure repeats, because tests rarely happen only once. If someone senses movement, they test again. If someone senses hesitation, they press harder. If someone senses emotional reaction, they escalate. Most men pass the first moment and fail the second. Why? Because ego builds up. They think, I handled that well. So when it happens again, they react slightly stronger, slightly sharper tone, slightly faster reply, slightly firmer posture. And that subtle escalation breaks the frame. Strong men don't escalate emotionally just because pressure increases. They stay consistent. Consistency under pressure is what creates authority. If someone challenges you twice, your energy doesn't double. It stays level. If someone keeps interrupting, you don't compete for space. You wait. You finish when they're done. Not aggressively, not sarcastically, calmly. That calm repetition sends a message. This doesn't move me. And once people realize their pressure doesn't create movement, they stop investing energy in testing. Weak men try to shut tests down fast. Strong men let them exhaust themselves. Another difference appears here. Weak men personalize the test. They feel attacked. Strong men depersonalize it. They understand something important. Testing is human behavior. People test boundaries to measure stability. It's not always malicious, it's instinct. If someone pushes your boundary and you adjust it, they learn it's flexible. If someone pushes and you stay still, they recalibrate. That's how dynamics shift. Strong men don't get louder when challenged repeatedly. They get quieter. They reduce words. They reduce emotion. They reduce visible reaction. Because repetition with control creates psychological pressure on the tester. Most people can't handle calm resistance for long. They either align or disengage. Both outcomes benefit you. Strength is not dramatic. It's boringly consistent. Same tone. Same posture, same pace. No spikes, no emotional swings. And here's the part most men miss. When you remain stable long enough, the test often turns into respect. Because what people search for in tests is proof. Proof of weakness or proof of strength. If they can't find weakness, they stop looking. In the final part, we'll break down the internal mindset that allows strong men to remain controlled under pressure. Because composure isn't luck. It's trained. Composure is not personality. It's training. Strong men don't stay calm under pressure because they were born different. They stay calm because they understand something most men don't. Not every moment requires a reaction. Weak men operate from ego. They feel the need to defend identity, to protect image, to correct every slight, to respond to every tone shift. Strong men operate from position. They know who they are before the test begins. So when pressure appears, they don't scramble to reassert themselves. They're already settled. The difference is internal stability. If your self-worth depends on the room, you'll react when the room shifts. If your identity depends on approval, you'll respond when approval disappears. If your confidence depends on control, You'll escalate when control is challenged. Strong men detach identity from the moment. They don't interpret every test as disrespect. They interpret it as data. Information about the other person, information about the room, information about dynamics, and information doesn't require emotion. It requires awareness. This mindset changes everything. Instead of thinking, he's challenging me, they think, he's testing boundaries. Instead of thinking, I need to respond, they think, does this deserve energy? That single mental filter removes 80% of unnecessary reactions. Strong men conserve energy. They don't invest in low-value exchanges. They don't defend themselves to people who don't matter. They don't escalate to prove a point, because strength doesn't need proof. It needs consistency. Another internal shift is patience. Weak men want immediate resolution, immediate respect, immediate correction, immediate dominance. Strong men think long-term. They understand that social dynamics are shaped over time. One calm response might not shift the room. 10 consistent ones will, and consistency under pressure builds a reputation. Once people learn that you don't react impulsively, they stop attempting to trigger you, not because they fear you, but because they can't move you. And humans respect what they cannot easily influence. Here's the final truth. Strength is not in overpowering others. It's in mastering yourself when others try to overpower you. It's not about winning exchanges. It's about never losing your center. When tested, strong men slow down, lower their tone, reduce words, hold posture, maintain eye contact, detach emotionally, choose response instead of reaction, not once, every time. That's what makes them unmovable. Not aggression, not dominance, control. And once control becomes your default state, tests stop feeling threatening. They start feeling predictable. And predictable pressure is no longer pressure, it's opportunity. Because every test you handle with composure raises your social weight. Quietly, without announcement, without force. That's how strong men act when tested.